Welcome to Beers with Rich. I'm Rich, founder of Under the Radar Report. It's great to be here. We've had really positive feedback from our Ask the Analyst program, and we're being asked which small cap is on the chopping block next. The takeover frenzy is here. Those corporates, whether they're in trade or private equity, they can't get enough of small caps. Why is that? Because that's where the value is. So value is what I want to talk about today, because it's interesting, the juxtaposition that there is all this value in small cap land, but the market is trading at record levels. What's going on? Markets around the world are at record highs. Investors are hunting at the big end of town. That's what this reflects. AI has indeed caught the investor imagination, and consequently, I'm getting inundated by companies offering AI services. Anyone would think AI stands for always interesting. Well, what interests me is making money. I can tell you that, and AI doesn't always do that. What you do with the market at record levels is an interesting question. That's an interesting question. Should we be nervous? Should we start selling wholas bolas? Here are 3 things you should do. 1, take risk off the table by taking profits on some big performers. 2, hunt for sustainable income from those tax-effective dividends. 3, hunt for value in growing companies. Yes, that means small caps, but there are other blue chip companies that are interesting too, special situations. So guess what? This week's issues in small caps and blue chips delivers on all those fronts with practical suggestions. That's what we're about, being practical. It's all good in theory. I'm out there buying and selling like you are. So we're taking profits in BlueScope Steel. We're taking profits in Harvey Norman. Both are well-run companies, but they face big headwinds. No matter how good management is, if you're up against it, you're up against it. We've also made big profits from both stocks. Harvey Norman's climbed 43% in the past 12 months as investors, big and small, dive into these sort of cyclical retail stocks. Well, contrarian means also taking advantage of that and taking profits. BlueScope's up 20% in the past 12 months. Over the past 4 years, it's more than doubled. This is an extremely well-run company, but as you'll read in Blue Chip, they've got real headwinds. Off the top of my head, the Asian spreads, steel spreads are really contracting. But there's also a way of reducing risk, and that's hunting for income. When we talk income, we're getting cash right now. So on that front, the banks remain a good place to generate dividends still. Like the must-read is our blue chip report on dividends, where we specifically look at the 5 biggest dividend-yielding stocks in our blue chip universe. Then we compare them to CommBank. We also analyze ANZ in this week's blue chip report. So this is really fascinating stuff on why dividends can really boost your value, boost your wealth over the long term. That's what blue chips give you. They give you that income firepower plus access to growth. That's what they're there for. But then we get to my first love. What's that? You'll know what it is. Small caps. We have our 10 best buys. You need to check them out. These are stocks that could be on the chopping block. Definitely look at our 10 best buys. But there's a blue chip that I think is worth buying that we cover in this week's report. I certainly have. That's Macquarie Group. I would call this a special situation. Read our research in blue chip. This stock is poised for explosive earnings. If it gets, basically it's poised because it's got all this latent money sitting on the sidelines, 35 billion in funds, in private equity funds, on top of 211 billion that it's got under management. All this is going to be supercharged if the IPO taps get turned back on in the US. That's the key. And what Macquarie's good is is at positioning itself for these big investment booms. So, I think that that's one stock to look at, but there's many stocks, including the 10 best buys in the small caps. It's worth your time. The beer, well, I'm going back to my Surrey Hills favourite beneficial beer company, Wagon Drivers Pale Ale. Let's crack it. Oh, it's explosive again. Right, these small caps. I think this happened last time. It's like deja vu. Well, great to see you again. I'll see you next time on Beers with Rich.